James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play I Wanna Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. Now, disclaimer, this isn't exactly what they're playing on the recording. On the recording there's a bunch of guitars. You know, that intro, that is actually two guitars, one going and then another guitar going, you know, doing that kind of thing. But we're gonna combine it all into a simple strummer. You know, so it's just going to be some chords and a strumming pattern. And this one shouldn't be too difficult. And if you find that this lesson is maybe going a bit too fast for you, or you don't necessarily have all the simple stuff together, like the basic chord shapes and the strumming patterns, I do have a few resources for you. There's my free ebook covering all the basics of strumming. And then if you want like the guided tour through it all, I also have my premium beginners course. So I'll put links to both of those down below. Anyways, we're gonna start off with the intro, which is definitely the trickiest part of the tune. So we're just gonna get it out of the way. We start off, make a D shape, like that, a D chord. Once again, if you're not familiar with this stuff, check out my beginner resources down below. Anyways, we got that D chord, and then I want you to go like this. It's kind of like switching to G, but we didn't make it all the way there. We're putting our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string and our first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. Just work that switch out, because it's really important that we do this quickly to play the intro properly. D, C add 9, D, C add 9. Now we're not going to be strumming these chords like for the intro. We're going to be doing something with them, but I just want to make sure that you can make that movement pretty efficiently, because this is all hinged on that working out. Anyways, we're going to start off on this shape, and first we're going to get these two strings. So that's the A string and the D string. Just do a little stroke to get both of those, and then we play the G string. So down, up. Just try that a little bit. Down, up. Then we quickly switch to that D chord and do a downstroke. So work that out. Starting off in that first shape. A few times in a row. And then all we have to do, staying on that same shape, is go up, down, up, down. That's easy enough. Up, down, up, down. And then we go back to that first shape, and we do that a few times. So, all together. And if you're having trouble feeling out the rhythm of it, we can count it out super duper slowly. It doesn't start on beat 1. That's what makes it tricky. It actually starts on the and after 3. So let's start counting at 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So on that and after 3, I'll count through the whole thing super slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So get that one time with the counting, and then you should be able to do it a few times in a row. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Do it 2 times, and then the 3rd time, it's a little bit different. Starts the same way, but once we get to this D chord, we go like this. So we're just playing like a boogie woogie blues thing. And if you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, just work on just that. You know, we have the D chord. We're just gonna focus on these two strings, the D and G string. And then we put our pinky down on the 4th fret of the G string. So that's the movement there, all on the G string. 2, 2, 4, 2, but holding down our shape. 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2. And if it's too much for you to do while holding the shape, you can totally just go like this. Just use those 2 fingers, your index and your ring finger for the 4th fret. The important thing is that the counting's right, you know, so let's focus on that. We're coming from this thing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So I'm going to let you just take a look at it, work that out yourself, nice and slow. And when you're ready, we can play it together, going through the entire intro nice and slow. Starting off on that shape, C add 9 technically. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. So that's the intro, and that is definitely the trickiest part of the song. And normally I'd say, hey, if you don't want to play the intro, if it's too tricky for you, just skip it. Start right when the words start. I tell you something. But the intro is actually going to come back in the middle of the song, like during the B section. It's going to come back in, and there's words with it and everything. So we can't really cut it out unless you want to cut out some of the lyrics from this song. So this is one where you do have to have that part down, so take your time with it. It might be the last thing that you end up getting together. Just put it on the back burner for now. Let's focus on the rest of the song. Next up is the A section. And for this one, we have some chord shapes, starting off on G. I recommend playing it this way. Pinky on the 3rd fret, ring finger on the 3rd fret, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the lowest, first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. Doing it that way, because then you can switch to D, leaving your ring finger down. That's a quick switch when you do it that way. Then we go to E minor, and then we go to B7. I recommend switching from E minor to B7 a whole bunch if you're not too good at that yet, if you're not familiar enough with it. And now here we have a C chord. I wanna hold, not too tricky. It's easy to remember the chord order, but to reinforce it, we should strum through them, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, counting along, just to make sure we're switching at the right time. We're gonna do that starting off on a G chord, doing downstrokes only, keeping the rhythm super simple. We'll add the strumming after. 1, 2, 3, 4. I tell you something. I think you'll understand when I got that something. I wanna be your man. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just 2 beats for each of these. They're sharing a measure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So that's the chord order. I recommend going through that a whole bunch until you can, make nice clean switches on beat 1 for everything, and you can count along and not skip a beat. And once you have that down, we can take a look at the strumming pattern for it. It goes like this. And that's the most common strumming pattern ever. I cover this everywhere, but let's just take a minute, go through it. Here it is, nice and slow. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Best way to learn this is to divide it into 2 parts. First bit, down, down, up. Super simple. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and down, down, up. So just take a moment with that, work it out, get the strokes, the counting. Second half starts off with a miss. It's like miss, up, down, up. And if you're having trouble with it, you gotta say miss out loud. All the people who have ever had trouble with this, like, when I'm teaching one-on-one lessons, they just weren't saying miss out loud, and I made them say it, and it worked out. So, you do kind of have to get into it a little bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And that's going to be the strumming pattern that we use for the majority of this song. But there are a couple places where it's a little bit different. So, we'd be using that strumming pattern. Tell me something, I think you'll understand. Using it just like normal, 1 time per chord. And here it's going to be a bit different. The second time we get to the B7 chord, instead of doing the pattern, we're just going to go All downstrokes going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and starting off really quiet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and getting really loud. So it's building up, it's like ramping up. You might want to practice going from your E minor chord into that B7. So we strum the E minor chord. Just like that. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, 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 down. And don't worry about the volume thing, going from quiet to loud until you can do the strokes correctly. That's when you should add the, the build up. Because it really does, build you up into that chorus and really make it sound great. So, it is worth working it in, but work on one thing at a time. Don't try to do it all at once. Anyways, from there, this next part, remember how C and D were sharing a measure? We were just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we have to adapt our pattern to that. We're just gonna take the first half of it, just that down, down, up, and do it on every chord here. So down, down, up, switch to D. Down, down, up, same thing for G. Just down, down, up, down, down, up. And then here we have a full measure of G, so we can use our full strumming pattern. So right now, you might be confused. You might be like, I don't know when to do what. I'm just gonna play through the whole thing. You're gonna see it all. If you don't know what to do, just watch this part, rewind the tape, and then try it with me the second time through. So here we go, chords and strumming put together, starting off on G, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. One time per chord. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And I got that something. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, 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 building up to down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Just that simple pattern. And then down, down, up, down, up. So work that out. You can keep rewinding and keep playing along with me until it works out. And then we can move on to the next section, to the B section. This one is going to require a few new chord shapes. First we have D minor. Then from there we go to G. And D minor to G, if you play D minor like this, with your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, pretty easy switch. Just leave that 3rd finger down. Then we go to C, and then A minor. And C to A minor, if you're not already doing this, all you gotta do is move one finger. And for all that, it's just gonna be playing the strumming pattern with chords. That part's simple. Here, it gets a little bit tricky. This is where we're gonna incorporate that intro again. Remember how I said it's gonna come back? This is what we needed to learn it for, was for this part. So if you don't 100% have it together, that's fine. Keep working on it. You will get it eventually. But if you do have it, let me show you how to incorporate it into this part. We're doing our whole and my love. When we get to that part, we're on a C chord. We go down, down, up, just like before. And then we go into the intro. So let's count it out and make sure that we're doing it right. We're on our C chord. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and remember when we were learning the intro, how I made a bit of a deal about counting it out? 1, and 2, and 3, and da, da. This is where that's gonna come in really handy. We're playing our C chord, downstroke, 1, 2, and 3. On beat 3, I want you to switch to this next shape. So 1, 2, and switch, and then we start our intro. And 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. So I'm just gonna play that last bit, starting off on our C chord. 1, 2, 3. And I recommend doing exactly that. Don't go any further than you have to. Just going 1, 2, and switch. And getting that. And it shouldn't be too hard once you have that bit down. Anyways, let's try the whole thing. You might not be ready yet, but let's just try it all. You'll be able to see what it's gonna look like and sound like, nice and slow. starting off on D minor, the whole B section. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my down, up 3. Cool, so that's all there is to it. It was just the intro, then the A section and the B section, and the B section ended up containing the intro anyways. You know, I structured this lesson start to finish to be the same way that you would work out how to play this song. So I want you to just break down the tune like we just did, work out every part till it's effortless, and then when you're finally ready, trying to play along with the recording. You know, if you go through this lesson and you prepare yourself, that shouldn't be a scary thing. Anyways, I hope you had a fun time learning this tune. If you need any extra help, don't forget about all my resources. There's links down below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.